Hello and welcome to our new topic. It is Unit 115, Produce Woodworking Joints. This unit, and especially today, we're going to be looking at timber, its origin, how it starts off, where we get timber from, some of its properties. Okay, then in later weeks we're going to start moving on to talk about seasoning, which is how we dry timber, conversion, that's cutting it up, and as well as defects. So let's move on. So today's objectives are to state the origin of timber. Hopefully by the end of the lesson you'll be able to describe the difference between the types and name parts of a tree and even name characteristics of different timbers. As we go through, you're going to be getting to know these keywords, coniferous and deciduous, so I won't talk about them now, but pith is the centre of a tree, the very heart. It's often quite soft and not great to work with as well. So you were asked this question at the start of the session, what do you think of when you think of timber? Tell me all the good things, even tell me the bad things, and what do you know about timber? Why is it so good? You can even tell me why it's so bad. So timber for me, I think of my childhood. You know, my dad used to bring home lots of pieces of wood. I used to knock a nail in and say, look, I made a boat. I used to make dens in the back fields out of wood. I used to make tree houses. And then as I grew up and I become a carpenter and joiner, you know, these are some of the things I've made over the few weeks before I left to teach. Okay, so I think it's a great material. It's carbon neutral, so even when you burn it, it won't let out more carbon than it's ever collected in its life. So it's neutral, so it's not bad to burn. It's not particularly good either. It's neutral. Okay, timber for me has character, you know, look at this piece of oak, how it's got grain, you know, every piece is different and it looks nice and it's warm to touch. So I'm going to explain some reasons why timber's so good, a lot of reasons that you might not have thought of and not many people know. Before I do, this resource is from Trada. If you go on their website, just type Trada into Google or similar search engine, you can get your own account. And it's free as a student, and there's loads of information, especially about timber and other building materials. So have a look at Trada. So for many, timber evokes childhood memories of playing in trees, climbing. On a hot day, do you ever hear your gutters kind of crack? They're expanding because that's what plastic does in heat. So timber's a lot different. It's got thermal stability, so it doesn't change, doesn't lose strength or performance in the heat or cold. So that's why Scott of Antarctica decided to build his hut out of timber. Timber's really good as its resistance to chemicals. So here it is being used in a swimming pool with all the chlorine and those chemicals, and then the sea. I bet all this metal will rot, will rust, and you know, it will rust and drop out before the timber does. So timber performs even in the sea. Timber, believe it or not, is or can be even resistant to fire. So I'm not saying it won't burn because it is a combustible material, but what happens is the outside burns and it protects the timber inside. So have a look at these pictures here. Here's a wooden beam still intact after a bad fire, and the metal has buckled, so the timbers outperform the metal on this occasion. So this is my last point really about why wood is such a good material. Okay, even the desks at college and kitchen units and things, even though some of them aren't real wood, they kind of make them look real wood with melamine and formica and laminate. So it's not real wood, but they make it look like real wood because it looks good, it looks attractive, it's warm to touch. And it gives a good decorative aesthetic appearance. So now I want you to go and find out more about timber. The two main categories, hardwood and softwood. So we're about to find out a bit more about these categories.